So we're at the top of the hour, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I hope that you've had a wonderful day, and I want to just cover a few housekeeping items first. First of all, welcome. This is the Perfect Client webinar. Who are they and where do you find them? I'm Cheryl Cook, the Business Growth Coach with Small Biz, Big Results, and it's my honor to have you join me tonight. So I want to make sure that you have a pen and paper handy because we are going to cover a lot of information, and I know that it's going to be valuable to you. And, just per chance, I'm going to say something brilliant. I want you to be able to capture it as well. So you are in the right spot tonight if you are a business owner or you're an expert in your field or you're a service professional and you'd like to get more clients. You know, there's lots of folks out there who could use your help. I see folks, as I'm out at business meetings, I see folks out there I know are making critical mistakes, and I just love to help them. And you know that you have a gift and expertise, a unique way of solving a problem. And, if you're like me, and I know you are because you're on this call, you want to share it with folks. You're in the right spot if you'd like more clients you love to work with, but you're honestly not loving all of your clients. There are those who ask you for a discount on your already too low fees. I know you're not charging enough out there. And you're honestly not loving all of your clients because there are those who say they have no money to pay you and they want instead some free advice. Now, I had someone tell me a really funny story about their father who was a doctor. And now I can't say that I've ever walked up to a doctor at a cocktail party and asked for free medical advice, but I know that happens to them an awful lot. And he came up with a way to kind of deflect those kind of questions. I'm not sure this is going to work for you, but I thought it was kind of funny. And when someone would ask him what they thought was the problem they were having, what would he diagnose it as, he would go, I don't know what the issue might be, but why don't you take your clothes off and we'll have a look. I thought that was hilarious. But so I'm not recommending that you try that, but, we all do have folks who want some free advice from us. You probably have some clients you don't love because you really have a different set of values than they do. And that, as much as you would like to help them, you know that they're coming from a totally different place than you are. Some folks that you help just don't ever take action to realize the benefit your products and services could give them if they'd actually take action. And you're also in the right spot tonight if you're not attracting all the clients you'd like. You don't have a Coca-Cola-sized budget, so there's a limit to what you can do, right? The marketing tactics you've employed sometimes meet with some limited expense or limited success. So what to do? But you're in the right spot tonight. We're going to talk about that. So the purpose of this webinar is to help you understand why everyone isn't your ideal client, even though we know that they could benefit from our services. It's going to help you understand how working with only perfect clients will bring you the most success. And finally, we're going to talk about how we can find out what your ideal client wants from you. So, of course, you can just simply give it to them. So if we knew what they wanted, it would be so much easier to give them what they want. So I would love to give you a brain dump on everything I know on this topic, but of course we'd run out of time and you'd get overwhelmed and you'd be no better off than when we started. So that's definitely not what I want. I want you to get some great ideas that you can immediately take action on. So we're going to answer who is the perfect client, where do you find the perfect client, and what that perfect client wants from you so you can give it to them. And I promised I was going to share a secret because this is something I only share with folks who normally pay me, but tonight I'm going to share this with you, how to tell if your chosen market niche is lucrative enough. And if you get this wrong, you're going to continue to struggle to get clients. You don't want to miss this special piece that I'm going to share tonight. So why isn't everyone your ideal client, even though they could definitely benefit from your services? Well, let me give you some examples. These will be examples you are familiar with, and I'm not pointing anybody out, so if this is your profession, it's not meant to point you out. But these are common ones that I hear folks say, oh, everyone is my client. And let me tell you, that's become a pet peeve of mine because, as we're going to discover as we go through this call, not everyone is your client. So let's say I'm in real estate. And who's my market? What I typically hear is, I work with everyone, anyone who wants to buy or sell a house. Well, think about it. If you're a real estate agent, how many folks can you realistically work with at one time? There's only a limited number that you can work with. So it wouldn't matter if everyone who is buying and selling a house, even if we narrowed it down to just your local area, if everyone who is buying and selling a house came to you, you could not actually handle working with them. Let's say you're a financial advisor. I always liken working with a financial advisor kind of like having to expose yourself because you got to share all that personal information with them. And if you think about the financial advisors you've met, have you felt comfortable sharing things with them? Not everyone do you connect with. Well, think about an insurance agent. There are insurance agents that work just on home and auto. So I don't have any experience as an insurance agent. They actually seem like brain surgeons to me. Think about all the things that they have to know about. So can you expect them to be an expert on home insurance, on auto insurance, on motorcycle insurance, on boats, on RVs, on commercial, on life insurance? It's unrealistic to expect them to be an expert in everything. Think about your bank. How did you choose your bank? I remember when I moved to San Antonio, Texas, that I chose my first bank based on which bank had listed the most branches in the phone book. That was back in the days when we did still refer to the phone book. So I wanted a bank that had lots of convenience. But think about how you bank. You might want to bank in person, or you might want the opposite. You might only bank remotely, and you might need access to ATMs nationwide. But maybe your needs are more along the lines of having a line of credit for your business. They're different things, and expecting a bank to be all of those things is kind of like going to a general physician to have your brain operated on. You want to go to a specialist when it comes to that, right? Think about skincare. This is one of my favorites. We all have skin, so of course we all can use those skin products. So tell me, why have 3 major companies and thousands of consultants made it their business? It's because we all have a preference for different product lines. We connect with one consultant, but not the next. So there's that connection we have. There's a reason why we connect to, say, one Mary Kay representative over another. Think even further into your experiences, getting your car repaired. Have you ever dealt with a car repair shop where you doubted whether you'd been treated fairly, or did they perhaps do some unnecessary repairs? Did you ever go back to that particular one, or did you try to find another shop? I've been in that situation, and when you get someone you don't feel comfortable with, you go for someone you do feel comfortable with. So I don't know if you're convinced yet that not everyone is your client. Your business is different, I hear you say. So let's say you're right for a minute. Your business is different, and you can absolutely help everyone. So that would mean you're serving the Gen Xers, the Gen Yers, and the baby boomers. Are these people dealing with the same issues? Even just within one group, folks are dealing with different issues. For example, baby boomers who are planning their retirement would be very different from baby boomers who are still continuing to work because they're not yet in a position where they can retire. Well, think about Gen X, Gen Yers, baby boomers. Do they speak the same lingo? I can remember when I first saw LOL. We know that means, well, I thought it meant lots of love in the beginning. Now we know that it means laughing out loud. But I thought it meant something different when I first saw it. So different groups have different ways of saying things, and they don't all respond to the same message. You think about their shopping, their viewing, their reading, their entertainment habits. They're not the same. So this means you would have to develop multiple marketing messages in multiple media to reach your target, your perfect everyone. If this were the case, you would have to have a multi-figure budget to do your marketing. This also means you would have multiplied time and effort to know and understand your target everyone, because you have to understand them in order to effectively reach them. So instead of sending one message to folks about this webinar, I would have had to write and send multiple versions to reach everyone in a way that resonated with each of the multiple audiences, right? I'm tired just thinking about that. Don't we already have enough work? I know I do, and I know that you do. So let's be honest. You don't absolutely love working with everyone, right? I can remember the biggest client, my first client that I had to fire. It was the biggest client I'd had to date. This client wanted the magic pill. Okay, so who of us hasn't wanted the magic pill, that immediate success? But this particular client was kind of like wanting to get six-pack abs while still sitting on the sofa watching TV and munching on chip and dips. And so this client, I knew it was not going to be a great working situation for either of us, not for them and not for me. So that first big client I had, I actually had to fire them. I also had a client who was happy with taking whatever business came their way. And, you know, I work with clients who have a big dream. I challenge them to set and achieve goals that will get them to that big dream. But this client had a dream of taking, you know, whatever came their way. We just weren't a match. Now, if you've ever worked for a boss other than yourself, because we're usually one of the worst bosses, but if you've ever worked for a boss, there have probably been times when you've had to deal with folks you just as soon not. Part of the reason that a lot of entrepreneurs I know become business owners to have freedom, the freedom to do business with people they love to be around. So let me ask you this. When do you do your best work? When you're stressed out? When you haven't had much sleep? When you're running on gallons of coffee? Or do you do better work when you have a clear head, you're properly hydrated and fed, you're doing what you love, and you're aligned with your values? when you're not working with folks you love, your heart's just not in it, you won't be doing your best work, and you'll feel like you're selling your soul. You'll feel like the energy is being sucked out of you. I like to do work that fills up my cup, and I like working with folks who fill up my cup, who add energy to my life. So working with folks you love, you'll see that you're making a contribution. You'll see that you're making a difference in their life, in their business, and it will add energy to your life. When you work with clients who aren't a fit, like the client I had to fire, the one who wanted the magic pill, and the client who was happy with the status quo, no matter how many cartwheels I turn, they aren't going to achieve the kind of success folks like you will, because you're a big thinker. You have a big vision. You have big goals. So working with the wrong kinds of clients who aren't a fit just isn't going to create success. When I'm working with ideal clients, I'm working with folks like you who have a gift. You have an expertise that folks need. And by working with you and helping you share that gift with your ideal clients, you are successful. Your clients succeed because you've just become the solution to their problem. And when you're successful, I succeed. So no longer am I trying to turn cartwheels, which I will tell you, honestly, I'm not good at, and it would be embarrassing for anyone to watch me do that. So I'm not turning cartwheels to get someone who isn't an ideal client to achieve success. It's kind of like what they say, teaching a pig to sing. It annoys the pig and wastes your time. And I have lots more energy to work with folks who are my ideal clients, helping them achieve success. So you see how working with just ideal clients increases your success, because ideal clients are going to get it. They're going to be successful. Okay, so just who is the perfect client? We kind of think of that maybe like an oxymoron. Is that kind of like the perfect man? No, that's a bad joke. Sorry, I won't go there. So just who is the perfect client? Well, wouldn't it be great if there were a website I could direct you to where you could just type in your name, your height, your weight, your eye color, maybe the name of your business, and out would pop a description of your ideal client. Yeah. And, I've often murmured how great it would be if God would just send me an email, a fax, or a text message telling me what to do next. Well, I don't think either one of those are going to happen, but it could almost be that easy. So there are 4 steps. You'll see that step 1 is to discover what business you're in. So think about when you introduce yourself. What do you say? I've heard some people say, we help people realize their full potential. I don't know about you. I don't really know what that means. Let me give you an example. Let's think about, take a grocery store. We all know what those are. So think about what is it that a grocery store does. We want to get it down to its base level. What's the most basic thing? If you could describe a grocery store, how would you describe what it does? Well, try this on for size. It's probably a different way than you've ever thought about this before. So a grocery store actually provides shelves and bins to display things on. Shelves and bins. That's what a grocery store does. They have shelves and bins. They don't make any of that stuff that's there. All this stuff is just to display them. So they provide shelves and bins to display things, generally for household needs. Now you think about how a lot of our grocery stores have expanded these days into what we call a superstore. So now they provide things like food and clothes. I've always provided things like food, but now they provide beyond food. They provide clothes, towels and bedding, dishes, toys, Some of them provide even, lawnmowers, things like that. So think about a grocery store. The basic thing that it provides are just shelves and bins to display things on. So when you think of it that way, there are, it lends itself to thinking about different ways it could provide service, provide what it's there to do, and that makes some of the extension into superstores a very natural thing. So think about what business you're in. How could you describe it almost in that basic way? So I want you to imagine that you were going to a bird sanctuary to observe migrating whooping cranes, only to have everything from sparrows to pigeons to vultures swarming around you. It seems kind of creepy, doesn't it? But that's a little bit like when you say that you serve everyone. So when you think about your favorite client, you want to think about like that whooping crane. That's what you wanted to see anyway, those migrating whooping cranes. What do you do to just attract those kinds of clients? So when you think about your favorite client, someone you've already worked with, I want you, if you got your pen and paper handy, I want you to write down everything you could think of that describes why you like them. What is it about them that makes them a favorite client? And by the way, if you don't have a favorite client yet, you're going to. But if you don't have one yet, I want you to describe what you would like about your favorite client. So step one was discovering what business you're really in. And step two is choosing your lucrative category of highest potential. Now, there are 5 steps, and I thought I'd share with you that formula, that secret formula, to tell if your chosen market niche is lucrative enough. We don't want to choose, if we're not going to have everybody, we don't want to narrow down our niche so much that it's not going to be the right choice for us, because we business owners hate making the wrong decision. I know, because I've been there. But if you get 4 of the 5 steps right, but you miss a fifth step, you are not going to be a happy camper. Now, I still want to share with you where you find the perfect client and what that perfect client wants from you so you can give it to them. So where do you find the perfect client? Well, you described your favorite client earlier. If you didn't have a favorite client, what your favorite client might look like. So the next step is to find out where those perfect clients are. So ask yourself, that favorite client, that perfect client, where are their eyeballs? Where are their ears? Where do they get their information from? What does their day look like? Well, this goes hand in hand with what that perfect client wants from you. So I want you to imagine that perfect client that you were describing. Imagine if you were to follow them around for a day or a week. What issues would they have? What problems would they want you to solve for them? So one of the things that you can do in finding this out is research. My clients will tell you I am big on research. And no, I don't mean the kind of research you had to do in high school or college before you wrote a term paper on a subject you weren't the least bit interested in anyway. I mean, look at everything you do as research. So just imagine you're at a meeting, you meet folks who look like your ideal client. So in the course of conversation, you're going to ask them what challenges they have around your particular area of expertise. Let's say, for example, you're a web designer. Ask what they like most about their website. Ask what they like least about their website. Now, you could also ask them what challenges they had when, for example, if you're a web designer, you could ask them what challenges they had when they first got a website. When they first got a website, what led them to choose the web design firm they used? Or you could ask what did they like the most about working with that firm. And then there's always the question, if you could wave a magic wand, what would be different about your website? So think about if you're not a website developer, think about using those questions about your own business. So ask them what challenges they have around your area of expertise. Ask them what challenges they had when they got the particular product. So they might not have the issue now, but when they started their business, for example, you could say, what were your challenges when, and around your area of expertise, you can collect research by doing this. And then always my favorite one, if you could wave a magic wand, ask them that. So find ways to ask questions and simply just be interested in folks everywhere you go. And, of course, that's the key. Don't make it an inquisition. Okay, let's see, I'm collecting research here. No, don't do that. You want to ask out of just genuine interest. Of course, you want to know you're collecting research for your business. So as my clients will tell you, I'm always telling them everything's research. So we don't ever call it failure. We always call it research. If you try something and it doesn't quite work, that's great research. So let me just review my notes here to see if I've forgotten anything. Oh, yes, I promised the 5-step formula to tell if your chosen market niche is lucrative enough. I can't forget that one because I know I would hear from you. You particularly want this one. What we call, is it hot or not? So if you've already gotten lots of notes, make sure you have room to write these last 5 steps, and then we're going to wrap up. So I'm not going to keep you all night here tonight, but I want to give you some great information here. So step number 1. When you think about your market niche, the first question you want to ask is your niche big enough to be viable? So we talked about why serving everyone really means you serve no one, because you're not specific about anyone and no one knows if you're talking to them or not. And so if you've narrowed the niche you serve, is it big enough? I'll tell you that when some of you know that may know that I taught scuba diving in the Caribbean for a while. And I had this idea that I wanted to own a bed and breakfast in the Caribbean somewhere. I wanted to have my own business. And I had been to a number of islands and had discovered that the best island for me was probably going to be a U.S. island because it made more sense to own a business where I knew what the laws were going to be. And I went to Puerto Rico. Well, I had just come from teaching scuba diving in Maui in Hawaii, and just the one dive shop that I worked with, we took 10,000 divers a year diving on through this one operation. When I went to Puerto Rico, I discovered that the whole island of Puerto Rico had about 10,000 divers. So I quickly concluded that I might be a little hungry if I went to Puerto Rico, if that was what I was planning to do, because that niche probably was not big enough for me. So question number 2, when you're trying to figure out if your niche is hot or not, question number 2 is, are your ideas or services flowing upstream or downstream with the culture of your niche? So this, of course, means you need to know your niche well. You need to know what the culture of it is. What is the current thinking in that niche, and are your ideas going with or against the grain, so to speak? Question number 3 is, how important will the people within your niche rank solving the problem? So if it's not really that important for them to solve, they're not going to be motivated to make a decision to purchase your products or services. So you need to find a niche where they rank solving that problem that you're going to solve for them. You want to find a niche where it's ranked pretty high. So do the people, number 4, do the people within your niche have a history of investing in things of a similar nature to what you offer? So if they don't have any history of investing in anything, first of all, it's probably not going to bode well for you. But you want to know whether they have a history of investing in things similar to what you offer. Doesn't mean that they have to have already bought something just like you offer, a product or service. Let's say, for example, that you offer workshops, so you want to know if folks in your niche have a habit of buying books to find out information or going to conferences to learn more. Then you would be able to answer in the affirmative that they have the history of investing in things of a similar nature. So question number 1 is your niche big enough? Number 2 is, are your ideas and services flowing up or downstream? And 3, how important will the people within your niche rank solving the problem? And number 4, do the people within your niche have a history of investing in things of a similar nature? And number 5, and I said this was one of the most important questions, and if you don't get this one right, the other ones really didn't matter. And that question is, do you love this target market? If you don't love them, if you don't love working with them, you're back in the same boat of working with clients who don't appreciate you and aren't your target audience after all. And this is what we started out the webinar talking about, working with clients we don't love, who ask for discounts, or want what we offer for free. It's an energy drain. So you want to run your niche up against this 5-step formula to see if it's what we call hot or not, to tell if your chosen market niche is lucrative enough. So I hope you have been following me, and now you understand why everyone isn't your ideal client, even though we know they could benefit from your services, and you get how working with only your perfect clients brings the most success to you and to them. And imagine, just think about the 80-20 rule. We know that with our clients, 20% of our clients in general account for about 80% of our revenue. So just imagine this thought. So think of the 80-20 rule. 20% of your clients equating to 80% of your revenue. What if you could eliminate the 80% of your clients who represent 20% of your revenue, and you could replace them with more perfect clients? That's a wonderful way to grow your business exponentially, because now you're actually working with clients you love. They're a success, you're a success, and continually working on only working with clients you love promotes that even more. And we gave you some ideas on where you can find the perfect clients and what the perfect client wants from you, so you can give it to them. So again, I know you've undoubtedly got lots of notes that you've taken and jotted some ideas down from our time together, and I hope there are some action steps that you have jotted down for you to take in the next few days. But if you need some more resources and you want a step-by-step system for discovering who the clients are, who love you and want to work with you at any price, and want to reach them by uncovering ways to get more clients flocking to you. By the way, your competition definitely isn't doing this. And you want to accelerate your results by creating your own unique, repeatable follow-up system, I'd certainly be honored to be your guide. In this training, the more clients, more sales, accelerated results system. And you can simply go to the resource link that I've given you. So it is truly my honor to spend time with folks like you. I love working with folks who have a big dream are willing to be challenged and to set and achieve goals that will get them to that big dream. Those are the kind of people I work with all the time. And those are the people that fill my cup, so to speak. So again, I just want to say thank you so very much for choosing to be on this webinar, The Perfect Client. This is Cheryl Cook, the Business Growth Coach, and here I am toasting to your success. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.